Hi, everybody.
We'll open for questions when you're ready.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, Coach, just kind of your reaction. When you found out your team was ranked the first time ever that this program's been ranked in the Division I era?
Oh, I'm going to be politically correct. I thought it was definitely a blessing for sure. And just excited for especially the upperclassmen that have been here a long time. You know what I mean? They've worked really hard to get to that position and that point. There's probably days they're like, what are we doing? It just reveals to them that all their hard work they've put in and all the focus they've put in and all, the games that we've won before this year. I think it all adds up. I don't think it's just one year that gets you to that point. I think it's all the years. And so, I think that they finally are like, oh, wow, to be a really good team, to be a winning team, it takes a lot of work. It's just not instant gratification. So I think that really kind of set a tone for especially those players that have been here for the whole time.
Coach, I asked Diamond about, the camaraderie of this team, but from a coach's perspective, how much fun has it been to be a part of this team and how close is this team this year?
Well, I mean, just going off of what I said before, I mean, just having the fifth years here, and Moss is really the only one, right, that's been here 5 years total, but having Tay back another year gives 3 years, having Diamond as a senior with Moss, I mean, that just gives just tremendous leadership and and then us having more people on the team too. There's not just a small amount, there's a lot of more members, and the members that are maybe not playing as much have a huge understanding that these fifth year seniors and these seniors back, there's a reason why they're playing over me. Whereas in different years, it'd be like, why am I not playing? You know what I mean? So I think it's really big picture, just made everybody super cohesive, and like Layla Jewett that's watching, Mossany, like, wow, she's good, or Diamond, like, wow, she's good. I want to be like that. So the support comes in. They start cheering for each other more. They start like, woo, I want to do that too. And so in practice, like I said at the very beginning of the year, we have a lot of members that can play against each other. It's not us just playing against Keish, Tani, and East every day. They're all making each other better. It's not just the people that are starting. So you got somebody like Layla that's very, very talented. She's making us better every day in practice, and so they all feel like it's a huge part. They all feel like they're a huge part of what we're doing, especially this year. And, I think the consistency, I don't know why this fly is flying around me right now, but the consistency, having my coaches, we've had the coaches here for 6 years, so that's huge. I mean, I think it all really ties in really, really well. And it's come to this moment that kind of we're at today.
Coach, do you get a sense that maybe over the course of the past 2 months, your ladies have really played with a chip on their shoulder, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I heard somebody mention this, the loss that we have, and I don't like to name schools because I don't want it to be a news feed, but it's just a loss we had made them rethink that any moment, anytime, any place, anywhere, we can get beat. You know what I mean? And we can get beat not because just the team is better, but we can get beat if we're not prepared. And that, I think, the preparation and how we as coaches prepare the same way, but how they kind of prepared for that game. They reevaluated how they prepared for that game and how they shouldn't have prepared for that game and how they came into that game. It doesn't matter who it was. It was just happened this year to be that team that we played, that how they prepared. So I think now they will never prepare however they prepared. I don't know, because we didn't really know. They know individually what they did not do to prepare themselves for that game. And I'm talking the leaders, I'm talking the captains, I'm talking the people that played a lot. That preparation was a little different then. Now the preparation is always the same. And if something gets off track, we fix it right away. They fix it right away. They get over it right away, whatever it may be, right? So like we have like laser focus now every day when we come to practice. Some days we don't, and obviously I get them back on track, but for games, our focus is really, really, really laser focus.
Defense has been your identity since you've arrived with this program. but the last 3 games, you've allowed less than 35 points. Is this the best stretch of defense that any of your teams you've coached has ever had here? Because this is pretty, I mean, even a different level. You've always had great defenses, but this is 35 points or less the last 3 games.
I think also too, we're in really good shape. So I've mentioned before in the past that our press keeps us in a really high level of shape during the season. And so that's the survival of the fittest, I always call it. You know, if we're fit, then we're mentally fit. And so that's why we can really laser in, I think. And I think we're just a really, really physically fit team because we press a lot every game. And so, you know, practices don't have to be as intense and as hard, you know, so I think that just keeps us super fit. And if we're physically fit, we're mentally tough, we're mentally fit. And I think obviously having all the returners back and knowing the defense, and we don't sway from it. We don't go into a box and 1, and we don't go into a triangle and 2, and we don't play man sometimes. And we just stay with what we're really, 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 really good at. And we stay really, really, really consistent with it. And, you know, eventually whatever you do and you stay consistent with it, you're going to be really good at it, you know, hard, bad, good, or different. And so I think, you know, right now, knock on wood, you know, we have been really good in these last few games.
This is Dusty Elian with Block 35. So when Diamond was just on, can you hear me?
I don't know, you're like something's fuzzy. What is that? Go ahead, keep talking.
So when Diamond was just on, she talked about not really thinking about how historic this season is. She was just worried about her and her teammates, worried about the respect and just getting the games in and winning. Is that still something that's kind of in the back of your mind as far as like how historic of a season you guys are having?
So the question, what was the question? You prefaced it with something, I didn't hear that, and sorry. Yeah, I can't hear you.
There we go.
Okay.
Diamond said that her and her teammates are just worried about getting respect and winning games instead of the entire historical aspect of this season. I'm just wondering if that is still something that is in the back of your mind. Maybe you don't talk about it at every practice, but you're still thinking, wow, this is a great season.
No, every day at practice, I'm keeping them focused and I'm grinding on them on the next game. We don't care about the big picture. You know, obviously there's stuff out there that's coming out, right? Big picture stuff that we have, those were our goals. But even now, like, I'm not even focusing on those. Like, I'm not even focused on the last game. We're focused on only this game, you know? And I think because I keep them like, you know, I keep them like kind of poke at them and keep them kind of agitated a little bit, you know, and I play motivational stuff for them. Like, you know, are we satisfied now? Are we hungry? Are we not? Are you satisfied? Are you still hungry? Like, are you satisfied? Is this it? Like, this it? Because we beat this team one time, like we're satisfied now? Or are we still hungry? Like, so I kind of like, those are the pokes I do, you know what I mean? Like, so not just me, but my staff, we just keep them agitated and hungry, like, because once you settle, somebody's going to get you. This league is too good. The coaches are too good. The players are too good. Like, somebody's going to catch up to you and get you. And especially this time of the year. So, you know, we never talk about big picture ever.
Hey, Coach, you've successfully built three programs now here during your career. Obviously, Missouri State had a lot of history behind it. Albany, you took to multiple NCAA tournaments. You've taken UCF to multiple NCAA tournaments. Looks as if obviously you're going to go to another one this year. What makes this here at UCF different in your mind? And then with the advancement here in the next few years of going to another league, you've laid the foundation. You got to the top 25. What can that do for years down the road here?
Yeah, gotta be politically correct about this too. You know, I've always thought this place was a gold mine just because where we're located, and just in terms of everything that we do here is about recruiting, and any coach you will talk about is about recruiting. And I think one reason this was a gold mine for my staff and I is because for young women especially, you know, coming to Florida and this beautiful place and the beautiful campus and and a lot of academic things that we have here is such a great fit for young women, and having the arena and the dorms really close for parents, that's important. Their kids safe, they're close to the facility, they're not, taking a bus to the gym. The campus is not a downtown campus where there's a lot of stuff going on and crime and everything. And there's just a lot of really good things here for recruits, to get recruits. I think going into the Big 12 is really going to help. That Power 5 logo behind UCF will really help us in terms of recruiting, and so that's how I think all the time. I've always thought this was a gold mine in terms of location and academically. There's just a tremendous amount of majors. I think moving forward, which I have not in my mind moved forward to that next level, but it's just gonna up the recruiting part of it, because I really feel I have a great staff and we can recruit and get anybody. And we've recruited and got a lot of people that Power 5, that logo that is kind of like a football thing, but women's basketball uses it at their thing, I guess. But I feel like my staff does a really good job of recruiting, and a lot of players want to come play for us, and so it's gonna be fun to see how when we get to that point, how recruiting is gonna go in terms of raising our bar.
I know you don't talk about the rankings with the players. That's not a big goal there, but we had local radio stations. That was a topic. Why aren't they ranked? The TV stations have been talking about. The national college basketball people have talked about it. Have you heard some of that noise? Because people are starting to get on your side and defending your team and saying, hey, this team should get more respect.
Yeah, well, I'm actually on the voting committee for this region, so obviously I can't talk about my team, but I can only talk about what our net is, what our RPI is. Obviously Megan does a good job of filling me in on everything, but I vote for my conference. So I have to sell, our conference to the other coaches that are on there that vote for the coaches. And I think the net and the RPI really help. I mean, it's just getting through the fog of Power 5 stuff, because I think USF, Tulane, a lot of our teams in the past, not even just this year, Houston, all these teams in the past, I've said it before. I mean, these teams have always been good. These coaches have really always been good. Obviously UConn was phenomenal and kind of overshadowed all of us. But I mean, I feel like all of us have, the coaches, the players, the league, everything's really, really good. So just getting through that with the people that vote, with the coaches that are in this area that have to vote, that's the hardest part. What's the word I'm trying to get? Not the image, the perception, getting past that perception. And actually some of the people that are on this voting committee have played us. And so now the perception has changed a little bit because they've actually played us, you know what I mean? And they're like, they are pretty good, it's hard to play there against them. So I think we've done a really good job here with the coaches and the team of changing some small perceptions in that voting committee, because we've played some of those teams. But big picture, that's a hard perception to change in just 1 year. It's just really hard.
Coach, you touched on something interesting earlier that I hadn't even really thought of before, so I appreciate you blowing my mind. But kind of the game, the pace of the games that you run, like game time being associated with conditioning isn't exactly something I've heard come from a coach before. Do you feel like, kind of a two-part here, do you feel like that's kind of unique to your more aggressive post-play kind of style, and kind of an advantage you have over the pretty basketball where they just chuck it from the cheap seats? And is that kind of the key to your success, not only at UCF, but as a coach overall, that you have kind of that unique style compared to other teams?
Well, I mean, my style is kind of give everybody an opportunity. I am not just, we're only going to shoot and you rebound every shot, or only this person gets to shoot. Like, my thing has been everybody's important on the team. And so we've been very successful everywhere I've been to be able to get post players because we don't live and die by the three. Everybody gets the ball. And it actually helps because if you don't live and die by the three, then you say you're not making some threes, you can go inside. And now you can, to me, you can still get a three because you get a 3-point play and one, make a free throw. It's a 3-point play. It just, the perception looks prettier because, Steph Curry looks pretty shooting that three, but it's actually harder to do what Moss and Brittany and the post players do and be physical like that. Then I was a 3 guard, so I get it. I played both inside and out, so I get it. And that's kind of where it comes from because I've played both. I played both the post and I played both the guard. And I think both of them are extremely hard, so I really have always been a big believer. It's an inside outside game. And, I don't want to live and die by anything. I want to make sure we can win games. And if, Diamond's not hitting her outside shots, well, then I'm going to Moss and Brittany. Like the last game, I'm like, we need to get it inside to Brittany. Like she is hot today. And the team's like, yes, Brittany's hot today. And so there's no animosity between people either because Diamond I just don't want to say names, but people that aren't hitting their shots, they're like, fine. They know, okay, somebody's hot today. Like, let's get it to Moss or vice versa. Moss is like, I'm not making my shots today, or they're doubling me. Moss knows, okay, I'm fine. I'm going to get it to Diamond. Diamond's going to knock it down for me because Diamond's hot today. You know what I mean? So we have different opportunities to still win if somebody's not hot that day.
Last one.
Coach, you talked about obviously the perception that you play a tough non-conference schedule, but the league is the number 6 rated conference in basketball. And I don't know if the national media's picked up on that. When UConn left, people said, well, the league's, that's it for the American, but they're actually on pace to have the highest rated conference ever in the history of the program of the league. Just talk about that internally because South Florida's good. Tulane is red hot right now. They're making a push for the tournament. SMU's improved. And Cincinnati, who you're going to play, you always have a battle with them. It seems like every time you play them, it's going to come down to the last possession or two. Just talk about that because I know from a league standpoint, you've all been fighting for that respect as well.
Yeah, and that starts at the beginning, Eric, where we all decided that if we want to, get any kind of perception change, and we're going to have to play some teams and beat some teams to get that perception change. You know what I mean? And so I think last year when they had the SEC American Challenge, I think that was one thing that Barb Jacobs put in place before she left our conference to retire, that we do that. And we when we last year we played, three of our teams won and one didn't. You know what I mean? So that helped our perception a little bit. And we've all really tried to schedule up. Obviously, Jose's been doing it forever. My first year, I inherited the schedule, but the second year we try to schedule up. And obviously Lisa Tulane, she always does it. I know that Katrina at Memphis, she's going to start doing it. And so I think it's just the coaches being comfortable with playing, I don't want to say up, but the teams that are in the top. There's not a bracket model that we need to follow in terms of scheduling. So the league, I don't know what the number is, Eric. I don't know. So I'm just being vague right now. I don't know what that number is, but we got to play a certain amount in the top 50, a certain amount in the top 100, a certain amount, in this one. We're not going to play a certain amount in 250 and under. And so our league and coaches have decided that we're going to really try to follow that model, understanding that they know if they have a revamp year and they have a bunch of freshmen and maybe that year they don't follow that mode. But we've played top 10, top 15. Jose's played, the same thing. Top 5. He's had years of experience doing this. This is only our 6th year. So obviously we're more comfortable doing it now, but our league has really done a great job of the coaches, of really trying to stick to that model.